What's up, guys? Back in today with another reaction to the Ghost in the Shell, this time for episode 3. Looking forward to this one. It was a fun episode last week. To be honest with you, I didn't fully get down the whole kind of plot with the hacker. It definitely seems more than what was kind of shown with the blonde detective guy or suit. I'll just call him a suit because I don't think it was a detective. But it definitely felt like there was more to this than was like initially let on. So looking forward to this. I really like the chase sequence towards the end of the episode. Like the holiday sequence as well, if you want to call it that, with Major. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, really like the show so far. So we'll get straight into it. I do remember the preview showed us that this is going to be the second half to last episode, but also there was another title for like probably going to be starting off a new kind of small arc today as well towards the end of the episode. So I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah, I got to go after this hacker that his unfortunate friend in that bloody garbage truck is stuck alongside. Yes, sir. Jesus. So this was the guy that was laying the stuff underneath the phones. I love how personality filled this thing is. Gotta say, I mean, we're only a couple of seconds in, but fantastic start to this episode so far. Love the soundtrack here as well. But just walk that off casually. Violence isn't the answer. Oh fuck! You just paralyzed that guy. Yeah, now look at you begging for help. Jesus. It reminds me of like a Borderlands 1 gun. You bastard. You fucking bastard. I can't. This fucking crowd. What a bunch of idiots, man. Violence isn't the answer. Bam! Get shot in the back. If you're not dead, you're a bit paralyzed for life, probably. Got shot right in the spine right there. I wouldn't be surprised if that guy comes back as like a villain in a wheelchair or something. You remember me? I mean, hopefully that's just like a mechanical body, as we've seen with a lot of the characters. But not sure. Is there any just like normal humans walking about in this universe? I assume the ape guy is, but I can't really be sure. But yeah, really awesome start to the episode there, wasn't it? I love that. Love that. I love these guys. Again, I love the personality, the charisma. How's the newbie doing? Saw him getting fuzzled up last week. He got yeah, here he is. He got put out of commission. Oh yeah, he's arrived. Nice shots. Oh, good job, you. Good job. Was that woman made out? Okay. Where did you even get shot? Yeah, good job, newbie. Good job. Perfect timing from you. Oh, so she took over. I think that's what you said there. So she used her ghost key on him there, hence why the shots were so good. So he could have. But I wondered about that scene because he looked like he was struggling. I assumed because it was because of maybe the injuries he sustained, but that's when she took over him. Okay. Why was he? Why was he like he was wobbly a little bit here, wasn't he? Oh, this was just after. Yeah, here. Yeah, there. He's like shaking a bit. I assumed he was maybe struggling with his injuries or something a little bit after what happened last week, but that was him getting controlled. Okay. That's still good job, good timing from him. Still a good job. Yeah, this ghost key access thing is really handy for her, isn't it? Not just on foes, but friends alike. Yeah. Well, that's something I really like. What was interesting about this? About it seems so open to go into other people's minds in this show. I would not like to live in this universe. Snuff them out. So there's the dude we saw at the start of last episode. He had some involvement in this, of course. So that blonde dude. I can't remember the specifics of what's going on here though. Storm it politely. Look at him, yeah. Loving it. Well, honestly, the most embarrassing part about that last week is your reaction to seeing those girls. That was the most embarrassing. Can't believe he was disgusted by that. That's every teenage boy's dream, honestly. Ah, so Nizuka. I love this voice actor. Yeah, there he is. Puppet Master. Yeah, that it was intentional. We did see last week. So he believes himself that he's that. Okay. There's a couple awesome voice actors in this room, isn't there? Your problem, bro. Look at this fucker with his cane, bro. How did he get here so quietly? Is he bullshitting us right now? So he's saying he was an undercover officer on this shit? Hmm. I mean, pretty. He had that. He must have had that like set up because that's a pretty smart. Honestly, that's a reasonably smart excuse, isn't it? He must have had that just in case in the back pocket because he came out of that very quickly. But this is a shame because, as I said, they've got Onizuka's voice actor over here. Like he's an absolute legend of the game. Love him. But yeah, clearly bullshitting, isn't he? I mean, we saw last week he was being shady, listening to Major's orders. But yeah, turns out I don't really. Hopefully, I don't need to kind of know the finer details of the ongoings here because they're all getting arrested. Hopefully, as I said, like the finer details of this operation, I'm not too familiar with, so apologies. I kind of get the overall gist of it, but yeah. Nobody's gonna resist. I'm slightly surprised about that. So this was the guy that was being controlled, the puppet. Bless him. Is he? So even the guy we thought was the puppet master is also being controlled? Wow. Yeah, we know. That guy mentioned it in the van last week. You just started chatting a bunch of nonsense. They just start. What is this, man? Again, I love these things. Why have they got so much personality? Like, why are these things more got more personality than some of the people we see? Okay, so it actually explains right there. The Fuji Komas. I'd love to see what position they're in. Kind of hard to gather, but I don't think it looks too good for black, judging from the small things I can see here. The action records of each unit are networked, and a data link is performed. They're all constantly sharing data between each other. Unlike the sisters in certain scientific railgun. This subtitle went by very quickly. There are individual differences, but that has little to do with their homogeneity. Homogeneity? How would you say that? Homogeneity is how I'd say it, but I don't think that's how you say it properly. Um, homogeneity has little to do with the dot as AIs. They've all got their own little personality. Yeah, I love these guys. I mean, I really like insects in general. Um, so these guys being like mechanical spiders. I mean, it reminds me of one of like the oldest Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think it is just called Mechanical Spider. I always thought it was really fucking cool. Like anything like that, I find really like it's kind of like Digimon as well a little bit. Like you metalize something, it's pretty damn cool. And insects are already cool. Figure themselves up right here. Oh shit! Oh shit! Yeah, it's a revolution. Let's go, guys. I'm on your side here. I was going to mention that. So we shouldn't make a revolution. SF. The SF robot Empire Strikes Back for robots. Eh? Interesting. That dream. I guess they all shared that dream. I mentioned Borderlands earlier. I've got to imagine Borderlands was quite inspired from the series, right? I'm noticing like a few similarities. So she does that, make sure they. That's pretty genius. That is pretty genius. Just to dissuade themselves from taking over, he manipulates them a little bit into convincing them that's a bad idea. Well, that's a massive question, really, isn't it? It's something I don't want to go into too much here, but I knew this series would bring up really interesting points in that regard, especially with AI kind of coming in now, which I'm really not a big fan of. I mean, you're seeing it everywhere, unfortunately. Like computer prices and parts going up massively in price. The consoles, the Xbox and PlayStation just went up in price. Like after all the years of being out, they haven't come down in price. No, they've gone up in price. It's just fucking incredible. Like you told me that happened like 10 years ago, no one would believe you. Um, and then like I was on eBay recently, and half of eBay is just AI bullshit fucking pictures you see on YouTube, AI bullshit thumbnails. So I'm not a big fan of AI whatsoever. Um, whatsoever. However, if we were to have like AI robots that have like these personalities and such, you would have to give them their own rights because you're essentially it's not you're not creating humanity per se, but you are creating an existence, a conscious existence that is probably even smarter than us humans. So you've got to you can't like yeah, I just it'd be interesting if you get more into these kind of questions because, as I said, I'm quite interested in that kind of aspect of it. Of like, what rights do they have? Will these things just work for us in the future? Will they have their own rights? Will there be laws on what they can and can't do of their own volition? Like to create a kind of conscious existence, I think is a very scary thing and a line we shouldn't cross. But I honestly think we'll probably be crossed sooner or later because people can't help themselves from stuff like this, for better or for worse. But yeah, we might be having to have those talks in real life, kind of sooner or later, not just in our. Imagine when this came out, this was a thing of like people of that day probably could never. I mean, they could envision it, but it probably felt a million miles away. I think this is set actually in like maybe only a few years time. So, but that was like 40 years in the future when this came out, or something around that kind of time. But yeah, it's actually a very real possibility for us now, isn't it? It's scary. Or would that be really dying? Us handsome men, we don't die. Oh, that is fucking horrifying. What the hell was that? Those cheeks. Is that going to be her like new body or something? Go get some pants that are not giving her a huge old wedgie. So this girl is certainly Jesus. The hell was that? Yeah, she's certainly astronaut. Pretty cool process to be fair. Pretty damn cool process. I believe we see this woman in the opening, don't we? Are these the girls she was on holiday with? I think so. Sorry, am I being stupid here? Is this the same girl that is creating these bodies? I think so, yeah. I didn't realize that's her. She looks slightly different with this uniform on. So one of the girls from the holiday last episode is one of the women we see in the opening who stands out a lot in the opening. This this struggle to say what to call them. I want to say like android or robot body, but it's not exactly that, is it? These shells, I guess. The one of the girls she was on holiday with creates these shells. Yeah, I believe we see this woman in the opening as well. Is this? I mean, I'm not sure if this is exactly her. This might just be her, but looks like a very similar model. If it's not her, that was a really interesting process. Again, couldn't understand half the words. Way too sciencey for me to understand half of those words meaning, but really cool process. Really cool process. I really like stuff like that. That is a scary. Sorry to pause you again. I won't bother sorting out the time. I've only got a minute or so left. But that is another very scary possibility. Like this universe here is so scary. You enter in your mind, going through your memories, seeing what you're seeing, controlling you. The possibility that you're not even real right now, that you're just like I mean, there's always those theories going about in our world about like the world being a simulation and so on and so forth, which I don't think is the case. Um, but in this universe, it actually could be the case that you're not even existing right now. You're just stuck within like yeah, like it's not even you. You're actually just a replica of your personality that believes that you're you. I've definitely seen like a couple of movies with a plot that's like that, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Um, but yeah, like this is a genuinely incredibly scary possibility, right? Exactly what I wanted to hear. Yeah. Oh yeah, not exactly the answer we wanted to hear there, but at least she's honest. And is that it? I guess so. Yeah, really good episode. Really impressive. Again, I love these chase sequences. I think they're really fucking good. Really good. I love the little segment with the spider machines. I thought that was fucking cool. I love stuff like that. And again, I feel like I definitely remember in Borderlands 2, maybe referencing this with Claptrap and in one of the worst DLCs and so how it looks DLC. I'm pretty sure that they referenced this Claptrap. But yeah, another fantastic episode, wasn't it? Love that little look into how these models are built at the end there as well. I would have liked to seen even more, to be honest with you, in regards to like the inner workings of them. A little bit more exposed, but still pretty fantastic. But yeah, just been really impressed with it so far. Really liking it. Again, I wasn't expecting it to be so expressive and charismatic, like on every front, both like the characters and like the machines. It does remind me a little bit of like near Automata and such in regards to that as well, where I didn't expect the machines to be so lovable in that series. Robert Rondo, Robert, I say Robert Robots Rondo. Um, Robert Rondo would be a pretty cool name to be fair. So I never played the game. I've seen videos of it, but that always just reminds me of Rondo of Blood from Castlevania. So yeah, who's this? Kunio Owa Okawara. I'll have to look up what work he's done quickly. But yeah, again, another fantastic episode. I think, like I said, I really liked the start of the episode with the chase. I thought that was fantastic. But my favorite portion was definitely seeing these machines kind of convince themselves out of an uprising, which again I thought was pretty genius actually to have Major kind of go in there and slightly manipulate them to kind of convince themselves out of it and say, you know what, yeah, it's a pretty bad idea actually. We like these guys, we like these humans that help us. Um, I really like that segment. As I said, it reminded me a little bit of Near Automata, and I absolutely adore the robots in that series. Yeah, Kunio Okawara. Who are you? Oh, he's done Gundam. Done some Gundams. So he was one of the pioneering mecha designers in Japan, supposedly. Let's see what works he done. History of works. Um, done a lot. Hell of a lot. Mobile Suit Gundam, the first series he worked on, I think here. I think Mobile Suit Gundam was the first series. I haven't watched any of that series. He worked on Ultraman, which is pretty fucking cool. Wow, this guy's done a lot. He's done a lot of work. Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam ZZ. He's worked on quite a few Gundam series as well. Fucking hell, the list is ridiculous. And I'm still only in the early 90s. He's been working since the 70s. Again, pretty much every Gundam series he's had some work in designing the Gundams. Gundam Seed. Again, I haven't watched a single Gundam series. I've got to at some point, but yeah, this guy is the Gundam legend right here. Holy crap, Jesus. So yeah, so this does look quite similar to that initial Gundam artwork I did just look up right there. Um, but I love the fact they're getting so many of these like legendary artists to work on these. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. As I said, fantastic episode. Loved the initial sequence here. I thought it was really creative. Look, it has that science Saru kind of flair to it, which I think is really cool. Um, just an awesome sequence here. Nice little wrap up as well. Again, I still don't like fully don't know the finer details, but it's over now, so not that big a deal. I imagine some of this stuff might come back up with the puppet master because I think it turned out that even this guy who thought he was the puppet master is not the puppet master either, and he's like still out there. I think anyway. Um, but yeah, I love this segment here with these robots, the robots AI, just on a just a random little dream sequence. I thought was really fucking cool. Really enjoyed that. And then, as I said, nice sequence here. I would have liked to see even more detail in this, to be honest with you. Like maybe even the construction of the initial parts. Um, Again, as a big horror fan, I'm quite a big fan of like creepy stuff like this. Was like biomechanical horror. I'm a massive fan of like the Alien series, and that's I mean, there's not too much in this side of things, but it's like the initial design of like the alien and such. I thought was really cool. So got some similarities, but yeah, thought this was a pretty cool segment. Learning a bit more about one of the girls from the holiday, and looks like they're going to be going back to it. I'm not so sure after the very deep conversation they had actually, which is pretty horrifying. But yeah, fantastic episode. Maybe my favorite episode yet. Honestly, there's some really awesome segments in here. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy this one, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. And I'll catch you guys next week with episode 4.